Tons and tons and tons of hat racks. Tons and tons of them. Greetings. Well, I'm trying to work on the last couple of boxes of these I got to send out. It's hat racks. I'm sending them out 13 or 14 at a time. And they are labor intensive. But if you've never seen a setup like this works really good for holding horseshoes, particularly when you don't want to mar them up. I've got a welded piece of, I welded over the teeth. I just took a piece of flat and welded over the teeth. Got most of that dirt out of there the first time I did this. And then we bend them. There they are. Turn out pretty good. Not too bad. Made this tool to go in the hardy hole on a vise, but you can just clamp them in a vise. It works fairly good. Once you get it adjusted, they make special vices for holding horseshoes, but I've never felt the need. I never thought I did enough horseshoes to warrant it, but I guess I probably do. Yes, I probably do. Just cleaning those up, getting rid of all the little buttons. Hello. Getting rid of all the little buttons that get left. So they are very, very labor intensive. These. I've never found a surefire all the time way of getting the concreted dirt out. So that's how they get welded. And then I bend them. Bend it like that. And then I use this curve on the vise. Give me my standoff. And then I come back here and make sure they're square and clean up the last of it. Make sure that they're straight. And there they are. And then I'll show you the final step here in a minute as soon as I hear the oven ding. I'll show you what we do. They are fairly labor intensive. And so to get 40 bucks out of one, I'm not making a killing on them. For sure not. You don't want to have those little buttons on there because they are sharp and they will poke you. And the last thing I want somebody doing is reaching into a box and picking up one of those and poking themselves on the finger with it. And so I work fairly diligently to make sure that all the welding splatter is off. Something like that. These must have come from down in 9 County. I can tell where they come from because you can tell by the color of the red dirt. We don't have none of that red dirt up here, so these must have come down from Grable. And they're probably Arabs because I can tell by the shape of the shoes. This is the blacksmithing in real life. It all isn't about the sexy hammering. There's just a whole bunch of this that is minutia. The minutia of finishing the components. And it's using some welding rod that I'm not particularly happy with. It's causing my cleanup to take quite a bit longer because the better quality rod doesn't splatter nearly as much as this stuff. This stuff appears to have a really heavy flux on it. And I'm not real happy with it. And I never claimed I was some great welder. I know, right? So you've seen me forge these up. If you've been in here, you've seen me forge these up. And you've seen me forge these up. And then we weld them together. And sometimes I make specialty tooling. And sometimes I just use what I got. And this works so well. You get a nice arch in that. And it makes every arch the same. It bends every one the same. So I can get them fairly close. Checking to make sure my oven's still on. I've got the first batch of these already in the oven, and you and me, you guys and me, are going to oil them. I'm going to show you how that process goes. And so that's the difference between, I don't know, maybe you can tell there. So, got to get them in the light. So you can tell the side that I brushed off and the side I didn't. And that's why I brush them off, is because I like the finish, but I don't want it to be rough. And when they come straight out of the oven or straight out of the forge, they'll have a little rough finish on them. So I knock that down just a little bit with a wire brush. That's that artistic license. But you got to have 17 vices in your shop to do all of this. It requires it requires 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vices, 6. 6 vices to do this. Yeah. I don't know that the camera's picking up those little splatter that I have, but there's. Let's turn it up. All right. Click. Little boogers. So because I'm shipping them, I try to use a smaller shoe, and that allows me to get an extra 2 or 3 of these in each box. But it also requires you to sort through a lot of horseshoes to get the ones that you want, instead of just picking them out of the pile and using them. Let's see that jaw on there. That jaw on there. See, that's designed to go in a hardy hole on an anvil, but see how I've welded that top jaw on there, and that keeps you from putting jaw marks on your work. And then you can tip that back to where it's fairly level. Break that down. Something like that. Boy, that old red 910 clay was. Tough stuff. Can you see that little booger right there? That's the splatter. And they don't really hurt anything, but they aren't very pleasant to run your hand in. They're not sharp, but Definitely try to get them all off if I can. Now these go through the tumbler before I weld them. So the only place I have to worry about those is mostly right up where they're welded. And that's how I check them. I use my hands to check them because if they don't stick me, it's a pretty good bet they won't stick anybody else. So I can tell that one's pretty crooked. Straighten it up a little. Well, I try. I try to help the brother Smith. So I got to go check to see. So these are ready to go to the grinder or go into the heater. Give those just a minute more. When those gets hot, I'll show you how I finish them. So, and that's all of them. So I think that's 14. So, but yeah, I've got several of those tools. So this was another one that I used. If you've got an anvil set up and you don't have a vise, this is a good tool to make up. So that slips down in the hardy hole. And just tighten that up like that. And I've ground that one down so much, it's been used so much that there wasn't much jaw on it. So I just built up a piece of jaw with some mild steel and it works really good. There you can see it there. But as long as your anvil is set really good, that is really nice. And of course, I've got these tipped back for doing horseshoes, but of course you can tip that any way you want to. Yeah, they work really good. And then the other tool, the other hold down tool, while we're standing right here, is this tool. So you're working on the top of this anvil and you need something to hold your work down with. Well, this is a pretty handy tool. So that's a spring. And so if you're cutting or punching, that works really good. All right, let's unplug this. Take this over here. Yeet that off of there because we got to come over here now. Like this. Trying to charge this phone up. That's what I'm doing here. So I generally have a box. I just have like a half a refrigerator box that I put around this, but my fan quit me here this winter and I had to replace it. We'll just do 4 or 5 at a time. They're a little hot. So I heat them up in that toaster oven. And this is a great tool. These are called a Sure Shot. And this is linseed oil and mineral spirits. Those just almost aren't hot enough. Can you see them flashing on? So they're hot enough that that oil is flashing off of those, mostly. So it allows it to dry a lot faster. This will be dry in a few minutes now as it cools down. But that's the finished product. Yeah, and I know the lighting's bad, so it's hard to see. But take my word for it, they look pretty good. Yeah, it's a linseed oil is made out of flaxseed, and so it's a natural oil. And there's not a heck of a lot of oils out there that will polymerize like linseed oil does. So it's almost like a lacquer, and fairly cheap. It's about $50 a gallon. And then I cut it with, if I can find turpentine, I use turpentine, but turpentine's getting pretty hard to find. So I tend to use mineral spirits. Yeah, you see a lot of it. Use a lot of mineral spirit or turpentine or in oil-based paints back in the day. Now they use paint thinner instead. In oil-based paints, you'd use back before they had. And turpentine comes out of a pine tree. So the distillation out of a pine tree sap. Now I think most of it's made chemically. All right, I got a few more. Let me go get them out of the. I'm going to get these out because now that I like them, I don't want to respray them. Set these someplace to dry, and I'll get the other ones. So these might be just a little hotter. And you might be able to see these ones flash a little more when I hit that. There you can see the smoke coming off of them, flashing off. I don't think it's necessarily bad for you, but I don't necessarily want to breathe it. So hence the fan. Try to get it down in there into the. But you can see there's a lot of handwork in these, and there is really no way to do this automatically. I mean, this is essentially everyone's a little piece of art gets touched. I'll have to call Katie back in a minute, but we'll finish these ones up. This is the last of these, but you guys have been watching me work on these for a couple of days, and I thought I ought to probably come in and show you what the finished product looks like. So there's the finished product. If you'd like to get one, they're on the Etsy store. You can find them on the Etsy Cody Ironworks. There's a link in the bio, or you can just Google Cody Ironworks and it'll come up. I make several different styles of them. This is just one style I make. And actually, this is not the most popular style I make. Sorry. So there we go. You guys, appreciate you coming in. Appreciate you watching. I'm trying to do this every day, but sometimes it gets a little crazy around here, and I can't always keep up with doing this every day. I get a bunch of people in the shop coming in and stuff. I'm turning into a minor celebrity around. So anyway, get hot and headed. Always wear safety squints if you like the content. Slip over to the Cody Ironworks Etsy store and share some love. You don't have to buy anything. Just go like some stuff. Thanks, everybody.